Hello everyone, and welcome for another thrilling tutorial in construction measurements. And today we're going to talk about bearings. You might think that you've never heard of bearings, but you really have. Sometimes they're used in the phrase, "Oh, I'm lost. I forgot where my bearings are. I don't know where I am." Obviously, pirates need to use bearings so they can find their lost treasure. So bearings are really important when you're dealing with navigation or maps, or when you want to specify a direction of something. Now, some important things to remember about bearings are bearings are always an acute angle. Acute angles mean anything that is less than 90 degrees. Examples can be 45 degrees, 50 degrees, 85 degrees, 19 degrees. Anything between 0 degrees and 90 degrees is an acute angle. All bearings are written in acute angles. If it's greater than 90 degrees, then something's wrong and you need to figure it out. Another thing about bearings is they're always written in relation to north or south first, then east or west, and you'll see what I mean when I draw my example. So it's not east or west first and then north or south, it's always north or south, the angle, then east or west. Alright, now I'm going to draw an example here. So here's our direction. This is going to be north, south, east, and west. And let's say you're given this angle, or this line, and it's in this direction, and you've been asked to find the bearing. So like I said, bearings are in relation from north or south first. So this angle, this line, is on the north side of the quadrant, and it's pointing in the right direction, so that means it'd be pointing in the east direction. Now, the next thing you'd want to know is this angle from here to here. Since bearings are always written in relation from north or south first, that means you want to find the angle from the north first. Now, let's say this angle is 45 degrees, so you would write this bearing north 45 degrees east. Alright, let me do another example. The next example, let's say you've been given this line and it's going in this direction, and the angle is 50 degrees. So just like we did before, it's the bottom half of the quadrant, so it's on the south end, and the arrow is pointing to the left side, so that'd be the west side. And it's 50 degrees from the south, so you'd write that south 50 degrees west would be that bearing. Now another example, just one more. Now let's say you've been given this angle and they tell you it's 35 degrees, and then they ask for the bearing. Now, bearings are always measured from north or south. This is not measuring from north or south. This angle is measuring from this line, which is the west line. You want to find the angle that's measuring from the north line. So what you're going to do is subtract 90 minus 35 so that you can figure out what that angle is right there, which will be 55 degrees. So you would write this bearing as north 55 degrees west. Pretty easy. Okay, so just to summarize what bearings are, they are always acute angles, so they're never greater than 90 degrees. They are designated by north or south first, and then the angle to the east or to the west from the north-south meridian. True bearings are based on true north, and magnetic bearings are based off magnetic north. And that pretty much sums up what bearings are. Now, the next way to determine a direction of a line is by using azimuths. Azimuths are always measured clockwise, and they range from 0 degrees to 360, so the full circle, and they're referenced from the north only. Now, this is important because bearings are referenced from north or south, whereas azimuths are referenced from north only. Okay, so what if you're given a bearing and you've been asked to change it into an azimuth, or you've been given an azimuth and you've been asked to change it to a bearing? So I'm going to show you how to do this. The captain on the left is saying, my ship is sailing at an azimuth of 170 degrees, and the pirate on the right says, our booty at south 10 degrees east. Now, really, south 10 degrees east and an azimuth of 170 degrees is the same direction. And I'm going to show you how to find that. So here's our coordinate system, north and west. So for the bearing, it says that it's in the south side because south, and it's going on in the east direction. So we know it's going to be in this quadrant right here, and it's at 10 degrees. So it's 10 degrees from this south meridian line. So we can draw that direction like so. All right. Now to find the azimuth of that line, this is 10 degrees. We're going to want to find the angle starting at north at this north line right here and going all the way around to this red line. That's going to be the azimuth. And so what you would do, 180 minus 10 gives you 170 degrees. So this is 170 degrees azimuth. All right. Now I'll do another example. Let's say you've been given an azimuth of 110 degrees, and you've been asked to find the bearing. So we can draw out the coordinate system, coordinates, and say, okay, 110 degrees from this north line. We know this is 90 degrees right here, this east. That's 90 degrees. So it must be just past this 90 degrees right here. Right? Let me do it in another color so you can see it better. So we're going to do 110 minus 90 to get 20. That's going to give us this angle right here is 20 degrees. But if we're going to find the bearing, bearings need to be from the north or the south side. So in order to get the bearing, we need to find the angle from here to here because this is the south. All right. And we're going to find that out by doing 90 minus 20 will give you 70 degrees. So this angle is 70 degrees. And we would write that bearing as south 70 degrees east. Let's say you've been given a bearing of north 15 degrees west, and you've been asked to find the azimuth. So when you draw out your coordinates, you'll know this is north and this is west, so it's in this quadrant right there, and it's north 15 degrees west, so the direction is 15 degrees in this way, 15 degrees off of the north, going counterclockwise. Remember, bearings can go either direction, clockwise or counterclockwise, it doesn't matter, but azimuths can only go clockwise. So that line is from here to there. That's the direction. So in order to find the azimuth, we need to figure out the angle from this north line all the way around, because azimuths start on the north line and they go clockwise. You'll figure that out by doing 360 minus 15 will give you 345 degrees. So the azimuth will be 345 degrees. Okay. Another example. Let's say you've been given an azimuth of 215 degrees, and you've been asked to find the bearing. We can draw that out. North, east, south, west. So 215 degrees from the north line, right here. We know this is 90 degrees, and this is 180 degrees, and this is 270 degrees. So it's got to be in between this and this quadrant, because 215 is greater than 180 degrees, but it's less than 270 degrees. So it's got to be in that quadrant right there. How you'll figure this out is 215 minus 180, so you can find that difference from that line. 215 minus 180 will give you 35 degrees. So from this south line, it goes out 35 degrees. And we can draw that. And that's the direction of the line. So from the north all the way around is 215 degrees. Subtract 180 so we can find the distance of that angle from the south side, so that we can figure out what the bearing will be. And the bearing will be written as south 35 degrees west. And that's because it's in the south half, pointing to the left, which is the west. It's in this quadrant. So it'll be south 35 degrees west. And that's how you find the differences between azimuths and bearings.